guys doing in there, mate? Hey? Bloody hell are you doing in there? You don't live in there. Good morning guys, and welcome back to another video. It's been a long time. I've had a lot of stuff going on, personal stuff, and trying to sort things out. I've grown a bit of a beard. Today we're working on this 2017 Nissan Pulsar, and we're going to be changing the rear brake pads. As usual, I'll be using Apex, which are very good, and this is the rear section in question. Very cold today, so I've got a few layers on, but I'll get cracking and get these things off. The first thing we want to do is we want to jack up the vehicle. Now, as I say, on every car, on every two sides of the vehicle, on the other side as well, there are jacking points, and there won't always be arrows, but when you look underneath, you'll usually see maybe a strengthened piece of metal, or in this case, little knockouts in the metal, and that's exactly where we need to place the jack. And I bought this rubber puck from eBay. They're about, I don't know, £8. It just helps to protect the metal, so you haven't got metal on metal, so when you jack it up, it's just a bit more softer on the vehicle. You've got to look after things, you know, so we just jack that up. Sorry, what I've done is I've jacked it up enough so that the vehicle's up in the air a bit, but the wheel's still supported by the ground, and also the handbrake's on as well, so we'll have to take that off at some point. But and I believe this vehicle has a manual handbrake, which it does, right there. So that will help hold the wheel whilst we take the nuts off. So let's go ahead and crack these nuts loose. So for this particular vehicle, we've got a 21mm socket. I'm going to use my gun on this just to crack these loose. Again, we just want to make sure the vehicle is supported by the jack, because obviously the wheel will come off. And in fact, because I'm using a gun, I can just raise it up a bit. These nuts off. Last one's the locking wheel nut. Make sure it's on there properly, and yeah, that shouldn't be that tight, but God knows when these last came off. So all the wheels are loose. The vehicle, let's jack it up a bit more. Okay, now with a slight knock, that one comes off. Put the wheel under the car, and we're going to make sure that we get an axle stand under. I'll show you where I'm putting it. This cross member, I don't know what you call it. Is that what you call it, a cross member? Jack it up one bit more, just so that I can, yeah, that'd be sweet. I'll just jack it down a tiny bit. There we go. So what I like to do is keep the jack supporting the axle stand, but keep the axle stand touching a strong portion of the vehicle, so that we know we're definitely safe. And on close examination, as you can see here, there's not much life left on them pads. So let's get them off. Okay, so now we just want to crack these bolts loose at the back of the caliper. Why are these so tight? Jeez, man, why is that so tight? It's a 14mm. Let's see if we can get a socket on it. Can't get a socket on the top one, but got the bottom one loose. So the top one is really stuck. See if we can get it off again. Jeez, man. Just gonna get my hammer, guys. I'm gonna have my hammer out. See if we can shock this out. There we go. That's loose. So 14mm. That was very tight. They're coming out nicely. Yeah, it's nice and loose. It's just stupid the way the brake line's in the way. Stupid design. And for a Japanese vehicle as well, Nissan, what are you guys playing at? Right, because the brake line's there, yeah, that's not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do, so you've got the slide pin or guide pin with a threaded bolt. That's interesting, isn't it? I've not really seen that design on many cars. So we're not going to be able to take this top one out, and obviously I will be able to free them up like that, but I'm not going to be able to get my socket in there. So, oh, interesting. So I'm learning as I go. Well, that's how it works then. So actually, you don't need to take the top bolt out because the whole thing just slides off as it is. That is really interesting, man. You're kind of learning with me as I go, because I've never done one of these before. But let's get a flathead screwdriver and just pop these pads out. They're not in the worst condition. As you can see, there's a fair bit of life left on them. A bit stuck in place. Yeah, they're not that bad. Everything is a bit rusty, but there's still life left on them. And the discs themselves, the disc feels fairly good, to be honest. Let's take the handbrake off quick. Before I take the handbrake off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chock the front wheels. This is what a chock looks like. Is that what you call them, chocks? Here it is. Get the front wheels chocked so that when we take the handbrake off, the vehicle does not roll forward, because that's the last thing we want. And as you can see, this is my setup. Take the handbrake off. And my lovely mother made me a hot cup of tea, so make sure you've got a hot cup of tea to hand in this weather. Pop you there. Take off. We can obviously freely rotate the drum, the brake disc, which is everything's moving nice. This is a 2017, so I don't suspect anything to be that rusty or bad. But what we do need to do is we need to get these clips out, these brake pad clips. These brake pad clips out. Just pop them up with a screwdriver. They're quite rusty and it's kind of seized in place a bit, but pop them up with a screwdriver, they'll come out. Once they're out, you can clean these up. Obviously if that's broken or really severely rusty, this is all brake dust. So what I'll do now is I'll show you how I clean them up. So I'll put one there. And what I use is a little brush, little wire brush, and it works amazing on kind of just cleaning all the crap off these. You can use a metal brush on a drill if you've got one. I do have one, but as you can see there, look, it kind of brings them up quite nicely. So as I say, that's how I tend to do it. Do it however you like, as long as they're clean and smooth. There is some dirt in that, so I'll probably get the drill on it quickly. Drill with my wire brush. These are cheap, these extensions. So just like that, and as you can see, pretty smooth, man. Just means you don't have to buy new accessories, you know. I mean, they're only cheap, but if you look at that, I mean, it feels smooth. We just need to clean the other side off, so just get my little brush. So obviously this is where it sits into this groove here on the caliper bracket. Focus. Yeah, so that little groove kind of sits in there like that. So you just got to make sure these surfaces are clean. If you don't do this, even in here, in this point here, when you go to put the new pads in, they'll be too tight. What I mean by that is, let's say there's loads of rust build up, right? You go to put these new pads in, let's say these are new pads, Obviously they're going to go in easy now, but there should be no restrictions there with it moving backwards and forwards. And if it does, it means that there's too much build-up of rust or brake dust, and it will stop the pads from moving in and out freely, so the guide pins won't do their job and the brakes won't work as efficiently. So you've got to make sure that all of these surfaces are clean. And if they're not, what I recommend is either a screwdriver or maybe even like a metal file or something, just to take a tiny layer off. You don't want to take too much off, because you won't have a good surface. The pads won't touch each side and they'll just be loose in there. You don't want them to be loose. Sorry for waffling, I'm just trying to teach you guys a little something. And yeah, just clean it up as best as you can. We'll have to take this one out as well, but let's finish cleaning this one first. Get a brush. Every day's learning day. It's not actually that cold, you know. Okie pokey. So that one's clean, I'm happy with that. I do need to clean in here still, so a little brush, as I say, or whatever you've got, just to clean the front and the back side. And see all that dust coming off? That is going to stop the pads from moving nicely, and you don't want all that crap going into your brakes when you're braking. Trust me. I've got this little attachment rod here. Let's try this. This one there. Or that one's not working very well. I also have these things are very good. You can kind of get them right into the brake caliper bracket. So you could take the rubber boot off and then get this in there, spray some brake cleaner, and get them up nice and clean. I don't want to waffle too much, because there we go. As you can see, that's just taking the crud off of that. It's a lot of crud coming off that. Now, not a lot of people will actually spend the time and do these, but to be honest, man, if you want to do a good job and you want your brakes to work properly, then it's kind of a must, you know. So now I'm happy that that's nice and clean. And yeah, okay, it does take a little bit longer, but wouldn't you rather take your time and do it properly than half-ass it? And I'm not sure why that's not going in properly. Let's do it from this side first. Do it from the back side, then the front side. Oh, there we go. That's it. Perfect. It's nice and clean, in place. Now we need to do the top one. We'll just get it clean. Like I say, you can buy new brackets if you want. I tend not to, and a lot of brake pads actually don't come with new accessories, so you kind of have to reuse the old ones or just buy new ones separately. These a little clean up. Lovely jubbly. The back side. Make sure you clean the butt. Well, like I say, I hope you guys had a good Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Sorry I haven't been posting. I've done a few jobs here and there. I wasn't mega busy over Christmas, but you know, it's been hard. No one's got money, and people still obviously got to get their cars running. So I did a rear wheel speed sensor on a BMW X3, and that didn't quite work out because the ring was swollen. So that's potentially another job that I need to do. Get that in there and get all this crap off. That's a lot of stuff coming off that, man, I'm not gonna lie. Brush. See if I can get anything out of that. What? That's never happened to me before. I just smash it down like that. And then, oh, okay. Yeah, this is old, man. Nothing is forever, guys. Just clean everything, why not? Screw it. Right, so after that, to be honest, what I should have done was, if I was a little bit of smarty pants. This is, by the way, this is not how to change your brake pads in 30 minutes, because it is very easily possible. Like I say, you can very easily just take this apart, put the new pads in and send it. But this is actually my sister's vehicle. So hi Sherry, if you're watching this, and she should watch this because it's her car. But this is how to do a job properly, take care, and make sure it's done to a good standard. So I've got brake cleaner. I'm just spraying down these areas that we clean, just to make sure there's no residue of brake dust or crud, right? So that's even cleaner now than it kind of was. So just, why that side don't want to go in too well. Get it in first. Okay. Okay, that's in. That's cleaned up, and now we can get. Obviously, I've sprayed the top bit already, so we can get this one in the right orientation. Is that a bit of dirt? Or? Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, so even build up like that could cause, you know, this level to be too high, making obviously the space for the brake pads too short, if that makes sense. So if there's a build up of crap in there and you put this in there, it's going to make this space shorter. So then when the pad you go to put the pad in, I've had it recently with other vehicles. You have to clean these properly, man. Like I say, or just buy new ones. But if we go like that, there you go. I can see it all coming off now. Just do it, get it done, man. It's not a big deal. This orientation. So obviously the big bit always goes. You kind of lines up anyway. You can't really put them in wrong. So just make sure you line them up and just push up like that on both sides. Back's in now. Now when you go to put your new pad in here, like I say, let's try it. Because obviously the pads do need to go in, but before they go in, these are the new pads, ear picks, and then when you compare them to the old, it's not, like I say, they're not actually that bad. So, I mean, they probably didn't need changing, but what brand are these? Oh, the backing plates come off of one of them. I don't actually know the brand. No, I don't know what brand these are. Anyway, what we want to do, get a bit of copper grease, and we just want to apply it to only to the ends here. A bit of copper grease to the ends here, so that it doesn't seize in here ever. And we can also, in this case, some of these have backing plates like you saw down there to stop them from kind of seizing or rusting, but in this case I'm just going to apply a dab to the back of the pad here, so that anything touching the back doesn't squill or bind or seize in place. As you notice here, these two are actually different. So one of them has a wear indicator, and I'll show you how these work actually. It's quite interesting. Not. As the brake pad material wears down, once it wears to this point here, where you can see this piece of metal, the metal touches against the rotor if you're in America, or disc in the UK, and starts to make a horrible grinding noise. Now, not every vehicle has these wear indicators, but obviously on this case it does, and they're usually fitted to the back of the disc. So as I say, this disc is not in bad shape, so there's barely any wear to that at all. It's just a little bit rusty. So we'll pop that in the back. That's in. Right, that's in. It was easier to see it from the back, but you can see that is in. Now we need to do the front one. So like I said, the wear indicator is on the back one, and the front one, I'm just going to put a bit of grease on the ends and on the back as well. And then we just pop it in. So like I say, angle it like this, push it, there you go, that should be fine, push it top and bottom. Oh, that's in both sides now. Like I say, if that was really difficult to get in, then I'd know that the top or bottom still has a fair bit of build up of rust that I'd need to remove, so that should be absolutely fine on both sides. That's gone in there nicely on both sides. Now the last job is to clean these guide pins or slide pins. Get a bit of tissue, give them a wipe, get all the old crap off them, give them a little spray with brake cleaner if you want to, give them another little wipe. Then we need to apply some new grease to this, and what I use is Apex brake grease, not on the thread, okay, just on the end like that. And then you can just, well, once this is kind of in place, I'll show you now. Just gonna slide it through. Oh god, you can't see nothing. So what we're gonna do is take the bolt, take the caliper, slide it through the caliper first, then you can kind of slide it in place into its location. But what I want to do as well is I want to grease this top one. Now like I say, I couldn't actually remove this top one because of the brake line, so I'm going to clean it on the caliper. I'm just going to rest it here. So I'm going to clean it on the caliper, and then I can put it in after. But one thing we will need to do is compress the piston a little bit. As you can see, it is out, so we need to open the brake fluid reservoir cap to release any of the pressure so that we can actually push the piston back. And on this, it's interesting because it's usually wind back, but that just looks like a normal piston to me. So there's no slotted grooves to actually kind of turn it as you're pushing it, which is interesting. So let's just clean this up anyway. Clean the bottom, the top guide pin, and then we'll apply a little bit of lube to it. Make sure it's greased up nice and good all the way around. Now we can go and push this piston back. I'm just going to go and open the cap. You guys can come with me. It's on the driver's side. Pop that. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. And that, my friends, is a engine bay. Where's the... sneaky, they've hidden it up here, look at that. There is an arrow pointing to where you should put it in, but it's kind of in the hood there, or the bonnet. And we're looking for this guy here, so we're just going to crack this loose. Whilst we're there, we can quickly have a visual inspection. That fluid looks clean from there, it looks very, very clear. And now we can compress the piston or depress the piston. So for that we use one of these guys. One of these. Now if you're left-handed, it says like LH, left-handed, right-handed, RH. I'm right-handed, so I used RH. It doesn't matter which one you use, it just turns the other way basically. And this disc here tends to work for me on a lot of vehicles because it's just flat pretty much. I mean, I'm pretty sure these would as well. But what we need to do is, I'm just going to pop you in my holder. get this in here, wind this back so it touches this point here, and then once it's tight, turn right, because like I say, I'm right-handed, and as you can see, the piston is moving back. And to be honest, that is moving back really, really nicely, and that's what we like to see. So there's no restriction in that at all. That means that that piston is free moving. It's a free spirit. That's what we want, guys. Nice and smooth. Now, one thing I would like to do, kind of screwed it a bit because I've already put the guide pin grease on. One thing I would have done is scrubbed in here, but I don't want dust to go all on these new, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. It'll be okay. Like I say, I've applied copper grease on the back of the pad, so that will hit on this surface here, so that'll be fine. And now we can just get the slide pins in, lined up. Oh no, we can't. Get the top one in, like this, yeah, like that. Push this one back out, bring it down. Once it's in, past the pads, bring it down, and that's how we have to do it, man. Yeah. So that's in. Bottom one can now go in, all the way in. And one thing you do want to do as well is, interesting, let me just check something. I want to make sure this rubber boot goes into this hole, because if not, then it will be an open gateway to rust and dust city, and we don't really want that, do we? So what I'll do is just pop it off there, push it into here. Can I? It doesn't really go in. It must seal. I'll put that 2 hours later thing now, because I can't, that's not, there's no way that's going in there.
Much later.
I think it just pushes up against it. Okay, that's fine. Let's just leave that on there. Let's just rock and roll with it, I think. That's in, that's on. I guess the bolt will hold it tight to it anyway and kind of seal it, so just thread that up a little bit. It's an interesting design. So look, as you can see here now, because everything's free moving and like greased properly, this is how your brake system works. So look at this movement here. That is literally it. Obviously, once everything's tight, then the pads will kind of move in and out with it and push against the disc. But that's how it works. The piston just pushes out and allows for this type of movement, and pads push against the disc, and that is that simple, really. We're almost done, so 140 more. Tighten her up. Yeah, see what I mean about the boot? It's just kind of loose in there, and I don't like that. That doesn't make sense to me. I'll try and figure it out off cam quickly, and we'll go from there. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Like I say, every day's a learning day. So what I did was, the nut was unthreaded here, for example, yeah. I threaded it up first, saw this groove, and then realised that once that slides on, that just pops over like that, look, and holds it in place. So that's all good, man. So we can, I guess, slide that in like that. Sorry, move your back a bit so you can see everything. Yeah, that just pushed right, so that just pushed. Like, I'll do it again. I'll remove that. That's pushed up to there. Once I push that on, watch what happens. Oh, beautiful. And then that's how that works. And then we can get the bottom one in. Same scenario, so what I'll do is I'll take the boot off. No, I won't take the boot off. I will put the bolt in. I'll thread this up. Thread this all the way up. Like this. No, because then I won't be able to get the. Oh, this one's different. I won't be able to get the caliper on, so I've got to get the rubber on first. On this side, like this. Let me show you. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. There. So, get the rubber on this side first, as it was. Like that. Push this down. Put the bolt in. The guide pin and the bolt. Tighten it up. And as it tightens up, it should kind of grab itself and go and pop into its place, I presume. Yeah, so I can see where the boot goes into now. So let's persuade it with my big head in the way and oh, there we go. Is that? I just kind of pushed it all the way around. Come on, go on, mate. Go on. That's it. You see it? Yeah, because look, if you don't seal this, you're gonna get crap in there. I promise you. And that's gonna rust. That's gonna rust them guide pins so quickly. You definitely don't want that. So make sure they're on there properly. These boots are on there properly, and everything's sealed properly. So that's done. Now we can tighten up 14mm socket. That's loosening. That's tightening. Tighten both these up. They don't need to be mega tight, by the way, guys. Just give them a snug down. Right, so now that's tight. We've got this movement. I'm going to depress the brakes. I'm going to push the brakes down, and you see, right, you see this gap right here, where I can get my screwdriver in. That's going to disappear. Sorry, it's a bit difficult for you to see. You can kind of see it there. See the piston there? You're going to see that come out and push the pad in. So you guys stay right there. I'm going inside the vehicle. Brake pedal's gone hard. I don't know if you saw it, but piston's come out and pushed against the pads, and now nice and solid. So that will allow it's only a tiny bit of movement in this to move the, as you can see there, tiny bit of movement to move the pads away from the disc. And now all we need to do is get the wheel on. Stopping for a little tea break. Cheers, Mum. Anna, as we say in Turkish. Probably going to be a half an hour video just to do the most basic job, but I just wanted to explain to you guys how everything works so you can clean it all properly and make sure everything works efficiently. What are you guys doing in there, mate? Hey? Bloody hell are you doing in there? You don't live in there. Going the extra mile, yeah? Before we put that wheel over there, on this disc, on the back of this hub, if you want to call it, I want to clean this grease, and you see where the wheel has been sitting and just seized like that? Look at this. Just brush it, man. Just give it a good brush. Clean it. Clean it all. Like I say, it doesn't take long, but the next person, which will probably be me, to take the wheel off will have no issues with it sticking to the back of this disc or hub. You know? So just that little bit of extra preventative maintenance. Now obviously if you was on the clock, then, pardon me, then you wouldn't be doing all this, but I'm not today, so I'll do it, mate, you know, I'll do it. And then like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I could get the electric drill on that and give it a brush up, but just a tiny dab of copper grease on the back of this as well. That wheel will never seize again, man, never. a smear. Just a little bit, don't need to be a lot. On all the contact points, you know, and you can see where it's been contacting around here as well, because obviously the wheel touches up against those points, so just gonna make sure they're got a layer of grease. That's it, man. Use the peeler. Like I say, brakes are easy, yeah? Even discs. I mean, to take that disc off, it's only 2 bolts at the back for that carrier, and the rest is history. But to do a job properly, that's what's important. It's not how easy it is, it's the quality, you know? The quality. Thread them by hand first. Push it in. Thread it by hand just to hold it. And you don't want to cross thread these as well, which is kind of hard to do because the thread's quite big, but make sure one's on there, and then we can get the rest on there. This is the boring bit. Well, up until, oh no, you can't do it like that. Thread it on my hand because it's so small. Thread it on my hand first, and then put the socket on. Now the extra stand is still under the vehicle, so once these are tight, a little bit tight, I'm going to remove that. Got the locking walnut key as well. Right. When you do tighten these, same with anything on a vehicle really, if there's, so let's say you've got 4 bolts, even if you 4 or 5 bolts, always go opposites. Always go opposites. For example, like if I was to torque these down, I'd go there, 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 and then there. And just make sure that the wheel or whatever you're putting on, just make sure it's seated evenly basically. I've still got to do the other side as well. It is the same as this side, so it should be fairly easy, but I'll just have to clean everything and grease everything the same way. Like I say, it is an easy job, but just taking the time just to do it properly, man, that's the way forward. It doesn't matter how quick, how easy, blah blah, just do it, make sure you do it properly. Right, now I'm going to jack the vehicle up a little bit. Take the extra stand out. Extra stands out. And now I can gently lower the vehicle so that the wheel is just touching the floor. And we can put the handbrake back on as well. I have pumped the brake pedal a few times. So let's lower the vehicle to the ground. Making sure that things like this are not on a low point that could probably hit the bumper. Be very careful, man. You know, make sure there's nothing underneath. Make sure there's nothing under the tyre. In this case, there's no like little rubber bungs that go on the back of the guide pins. So we're all good. We can just lower it down slowly. There we go. Wheels touching the ground. Handbrake is off, but we've still got the wheels chopped. Now what we're going to do is get a torque wrench. This is a Draper torque wrench, 1/2 inch. I think I'll leave the product link in the description of the video. In fact, all my videos have that. What I've got it set at is a generic 110 Newton meters, which I find is very, very reasonable for most vehicles. And all we're going to do is start with 1 bolt. Once it clicks, you're done, okay? Don't go click and then push it further. Go to the opposite side. As I say, the jack is still supporting the vehicle to some degree. Now we can go to the locking walnut. Right up here. Down. And across. Again, check them. Once it clicks, you're done. You don't need to go any further than that. And like I say, 110 Newton meters is very fair for most vehicles. Well, obviously if you've got a big vehicle, then the torque settings will be different. It's best to check your manufacturer's specifications, but like I say, I've never had a problem, and it's tight enough. So the wheel's on. Take the locking walnut off. Just give that a little tap. And that's it. So the other side is the same procedure, so I'm not going to show you that, but I hope that helps you guys that are trying to do the same job. Like I say, this one was a bit weird because I couldn't get one of the guide pins out, and the guide pin is part of the bolt as well, so that's obviously got a thread in it. I've never really seen that before, I don't think. So the top one you just kind of leave in, but make sure you clean them up and grease them, just so that they slide in and out nice and easily, and that's going to make your brakes work properly. But again, I'm sorry for being so crap with uploading. I'll try and upload more regularly. I do have some servicing and stuff coming up. I don't tend to do the very big jobs, although I have done some quite tricky jobs. Like I've done a auto transmission service on a BMW 420i. That was a 2019, and I didn't record it because I'd never really done one before, and I wanted to make sure that I do it properly. But again, it's all a learning experience, isn't it? I'm not an expert in what I do. I've been working on cars for years, but there's some jobs that I've never done before, and I'm kind of learning as I go. And I just thought I'd kind of share my knowledge and teach you guys what I know so that you can do it yourselves, because it's not rocket science. You only need, say, you know, like some hand tools. You don't even need the guns and stuff. I mean, that's 20 quid, you know. Torque wrenches like 30-40 quid. Some ratchet and spanners, you don't need them, but they're handy. The right angled electric wrench is nice, the ratchet wrench. That was only 60 quid from eBay. Obviously you kind of need a good socket set. I think that was £200 or £150 at the time. My jack was £100. That's it, it's just basic stuff. Save yourself some money, do it yourself, do it properly. The mechanics won't spend the time to clean everything like that. If you think that mechanics are going to clean everything like that, then you're mistaken, because they're not. So do it properly, do it yourself, save yourself some money, do the job even better than a garage. Because like I say, they're just on the clock, they just want the car in and out. And yeah, you'll have a lovely braking experience. Many people are scared of touching their brakes because they think they might mess something up, but no, I've never had a problem. And as long as you talk things up properly and tighten things to spec, then you shouldn't have a problem. Oh, I almost forgot. Once you finish doing your brake job, then make sure you put this cap back on, because you don't want to lose it, and you don't want any spillages everywhere, because it can get messy and it can remove paint and stuff. So obviously I'm doing the other side now, so I'm going to leave this crack, but yeah, just make sure that you tighten that up. If you did find this helpful, then please give it a like, comment if you've got any questions, subscribe for more videos like this. I'll be posting a lot more in the coming months and years, and I'm going to stick at it because I am passionate about cars, and I do like to kind of help people out. If I can help you guys out, then why not? And I'm learning on the way, so it's good. It's a good experience for me to document it. So yeah, welcome to my journey, and please feel free to join in with me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.